31-29 to the Minnesota Vikings at home. Vikings improved to 4-0. Packers 2-2. We all know where the loss was. It was the first game of the season. I do think I want to begin here. Gabe, I'm so sorry. Because you warned me. Mm-hmm. You warned us about the rust.
Yeah.
About the likelihood that Jordan Love coming off of 2 weeks with the MCL injury would not be the Jordan Love that we were accustomed to, that we were used to, that we have grown to love. Mm-hmm. And he was not. Not at least early. Now, did he find a rhythm? Did he find himself eventually as the game went on? Sure did. But by then it was too little too late. They had dug themselves too grand of a hole, too big of a hole, down 28 points. And while I was inspired by and proud of the effort in the second half, what an opportunity they let slip by. What an opportunity. Because in the second half of that game, Gabe, they were better than the Minnesota Vikings. I still believe. You don't think so?
To a degree, but like the Vikings had taken the foot off the gas kind of at that point, right? Like, and there are plenty of people out there. Well, if Narveson makes those field goals, well, sure. If Narveson makes those field goals, the Vikings are playing when they turn the ball over in downs inside the 10 a little bit differently too, right? They're not trying to get Aaron Jones his touchdown because that seemed something like Kevin O'Connell was trying to do. It seemed like he was desperately trying to get Aaron Jones his touchdown, his moment at Lambeau Field. So, I mean, when the game mattered the most, it was 28-7 at half. It's not good enough. It was bad.
Oh, and it was very bad. It was bad in all facets. You had talked about part of the reason they won those games with Malik Willis under center was that they played complementary football, that they recognized that there may be a sort of deficiency at the quarterback position, the most important position, obviously, and everybody else kind of rose to the occasion. That did not happen. It was almost as though, psychologically speaking, I think, they knew Jordan Love was back, and it was like, whew, we got our guy. Okay, so the effort that we had put in the last couple of games, well, that wasn't required anymore. That wasn't needed anymore. And that's why you saw missed field goals and penalties, which we have seen for this first quarter of the season.
They're one of the most penalized teams in the league. Like that needs to get cleaned up ASAP because that's one of the things you can actually do. I mean, Narveson's been missing field goals. Like, I mean, if that guy's breathing a sigh of relief at any point, I mean, he needs That's bad. And look, the front seven's just not good enough. It's not. It's been tested twice. They failed both times. Both times, the front seven has had an opportunity against better teams in this league. They have failed. They have not gotten a decent pass. They can't get home with 4. They can't. The only time they're getting pressure right now is if Jeff Hafley dials up a blitz. And he didn't want to have to blitz in the first half because, well, they were without their top 2 corners. So he wanted to play a little bit more coverage, keep a safety backs, try to keep these guys off an island.
Well, and by the way, they have some very, very talented wide receivers in Jefferson and Addison, who was back.
But it was 21-0, and Jefferson had 1 catch for 5 yards.
Because Addison came to play, right?
Sure.
Didn't he have the first 2 touchdowns?
Sure. But still, like, you have to have some sort of answer on your front seven. That front seven's been disappointing. Even more disappointing than Narveson through the first 4 weeks.
So this morning, less than 24 hours removed from the final of yesterday's game, how are you feeling? Because I got to be honest with you, I thought I would feel worse. I thought I would be more upset. I thought I would be more despondent given where we were staring at, a goose egg on the scoreboard as late as it was in the first half. But the way that they rallied, the way that they fought, the way that they did put together a competent offense, the way that they were able to chunk yardage down the field, I was like, oh, there is the version, or at least closer to the version, of the Green Bay Packers that we all expected to see in a division game. So there's a part of me that was like, I don't feel as bad. I'm not as angry as I thought I was going to be earlier in the day.
The offense is going to be fine. Jordan didn't play well enough, but we knew that was going to be a possibility because, again, like it's early in the season. He wasn't playing in preseason games. He played in 1 game, missed 2, and while he was limited in practice, you knew he was going to be a little bit rusty and still made... He's got to clean up these decisions late in games. Now, we've seen it. We saw it against San Francisco last year, and then, Harrison Smith surprised him, so he just, decides to chuck it up to the end zone, which that to me is what killed it. Because they had an opportunity. They had the ball at that point. They had the ball with an opportunity to tie the game. And that interception, that was their last chance that they had that. Yes, it's nice that they went down and scored a touchdown, but look, the onside kick was, it was a 50-50 ball. It was 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. they had no chance of ever getting that. So
Sure.
ends up making the score look a little bit closer than it actually was. So they had an opportunity, they had a chance, and Jordan Love threw that interception. But look, the offense is going to be fine. They still were able to move the ball up and down. Wicks had some drops, but he was able to get open against what's been a very good defense. And when you see those guys get open and then start factoring in, okay, when they actually can then run the ball because they're not down by 1,000 points, the offense is going to be fine. Got no problems with the offense. I believe Jordan's going to clean up the decision-making. He's going to be closer to what we saw in the last 8 games of last year.
But I feel like there's a giant but coming here because I asked you how you feel. You feel like the offense is going to be fine. But this morning, are you despondent? Are you okay?
Defense stinks. Defense isn't good enough. And the more I see, I'm not blaming Jeff Hafley because I think Hafley, again, put in a tough spot. Everybody has to deal with this. Everybody's got to deal with injuries. Being without your top 2 corners, it happens. I'm not blaming him because I think he's putting guys in positions to succeed. But what I'm seeing is guys who just aren't good enough. Like this, what I am learning through the first 4 games is right now, last year, yeah, Joe Barry was an issue. But so was some of these players on defense. And again, I'm particularly looking at the front 7 because Xavier McKinney, had another interception yesterday. Unbelievable. 4 picks in 4 games. I like the secondary, but if you're not getting pressure on the quarterback, no secondary has. You could have a secondary with Darrelle Revis and Deion Sanders and Leroy Butler and Ed Reed. Just 4 Pro Football Hall of Famers back there. If you can't get a pass rush on a quarterback, they don't have a chance. Packers can't get a pass rush. Can't get it with 4. Paying Rashawn Gary all that money. Can't get home. Just gave Kenny Clark an extension. He's been, widely missing through 4 games. Especially when it comes to a pass rush. Like, nobody's getting home. And that's concerning to me. So when you're going to be playing some of these better teams like Detroit later in the season, like it feels like it's almost got to be, you're going to have to win via shootout because I don't know how much you can count on this defense.
What bothers you most? Is that it across the board?
Yeah, it's
the pressure.
Rush. The pass rush. And then I saw this. So I saw this morning from our friend Justice Mosqueda over at Acme Packing Company. And he did a little research per NFL Pro Advanced Stats. The average league-wide pressure rate is 12.5% for somebody lining up a defensive end. The Packers' best pass rusher is Rashawn Gary by the statistics. 11.7% pressure rate. So that's below average. And he's their best one. He's their best one. I saw Andy Herman tweet yesterday. Rashawn Gary has 1 sack in the last 11 games. 1. That's what you get paid for, the sacks. And there's no difference maker in that front 4. Edgerrin Cooper's got potential. Hopefully he can live up to that. But he's really the only one for me that has stood out in the first 4 games in that front 7. I like the secondary, like a lot of the potential there. Whew, the front 7 is just so bad. Giving up a bunch of rushing yards. I mean, yesterday wasn't as bad. 22 carries, 94 yards for Aaron Jones. I thought that would be worse, but I mean, Sam Darnold was just able to sit back there and pick you apart. It's not good. There's a lot better quarterbacks in this league that you're going to have to beat come playoff time, which is the expectation now after last year. You got to play better than this, than they have through the first 4 games. And to me, pass rush doesn't come down to scheme because you can do different things with blitzes and you can do some stunts. A lot of times, especially when you're a guy in Rashawn Gary's position, you're lining up one-on-one with the tackle across from you. Can you beat that guy? And right now, the answer is, well, he can beat him just, less than most other guys can beat him in the league.
800-990-3776. What is the one thing that bothers you the most about yesterday's loss to the Vikings? It could be as simple as it's the Vikings, and it was a division game, and now the Vikings are in the catbird seat in the division. It could be the missed field goals. Do they need to go out and get another kicker? Because Narveson isn't cutting it right now. And, oh, by the way, yes, we saw your tweets about Greg Joseph. Yes, we saw Greg Joseph offensive line. Yes, we recognize that maybe, just maybe, this front office, this brass is not good at identifying kicking talent. All of those things are distinct possibilities. Was it the low throws by Jordan Love? Because there were a lot of them where guys had to go down and get them. And I think on the broadcast they were talking about this. Because of the knee injury, there's something about him not following through with the throw, and so the ball is kind of nose diving. Did you kind of put those two together and think that they were related?
Well, I think Trent Green did a really good job of breaking that down in terms of just some of the mechanics that you had to deal with. And Jason brought this up on Green Bay Game Day before the game yesterday, which isn't something I thought of. Like, Jordan, in his NFL career, the one thing he didn't really have to deal with last year was injury. And at some point in the NFL, you just have to play hurt. I mean, everybody does it. Everybody's got stories. Chewy's got a million stories. But when you're doing it for the first time, like, there are different things you have to do in order, and I think he figured it out as the game went along, but it's one of those things you have to learn how to do. Okay, my knee isn't able to do this, therefore I have to do this and this in order to compensate for that. And again, he was able to figure it out as the game went along. He was really good in the second half, minus the, Brett Favre-like interception into the end zone. But I think that's one of the things you have to learn to deal with that he hadn't really had to deal with before. And that went into, I think, the rust in the inaccuracy and the poor play in the first half.
800-990-3776. Was it the interceptions? Do you give Jordan Love a pass because he maybe wasn't playing at 100%? I got a lot of folks weighing in on the YouTube page saying he just wasn't ready to go. That from Jayleon. It's as simple as that. So would you have preferred Malik Willis out there?
No.
Would you have preferred that they had said, no, Jordan, take another week? Because I don't know that you're getting a result different than what you walked away with if Malik Willis is under center.
Again, I think it's just there's some, no matter when he came back, there was going to be rust there. And there was going to be, oh man, maybe he's not ready. Well, there's just going to be some rust because he hasn't played football. I think we're past that stage now, and they still almost won that game. The offense looked really good in the second half, and that's something you can build off of going forward. That's something you can build off of going into this game against the Rams this weekend.
I liked what Xavier McKinney did. I was disappointed that they were not able to convert on the interception. I'm not even sure that it was an interception. I know they looked at it long and hard, and was the elbow down, and did he catch it out of bounds? And the officials were like, let's just give it to him. They're having a tough day.
How was that a catch? And the other three that they reviewed were not.
I thought there was no chance. It felt like they were just giving us one.
That's what I said.
We've kind of
They're having a tough day.
You can have it. This is for you guys.
I mean, I thought, thank you.
The entire booth felt similarly. Yeah. They were like, I don't know, this is weird.
I thought the biggest thing for Jordan Love was, and the reason why it's not smart to start Malik Willis is he's going to have to figure out how to play with that MCL at some point. And they talked about it on the broadcast. And he's known to do the fadeaway thing, but it was more egregious than normal because he wasn't confident. And then as the game went on, it was like as if there was no injury there, even after he grabbed his knee that one time.
20 of 30 in the second half.
Yeah.
How many times has Chewy told us when you're coming off of an injury, even if it's a full season or just a couple of weeks, takes you to get popped for that first time?
Got to get hit.
Oh, wait. It's still there. Oh, we're fine.
Everything's good.
All right, here we go. Let's roll.
It almost feels like after... I felt like the broadcast didn't talk about it. There were some tweets about it, but he grabbed his knee after he took that sack, and I was like, uh-oh, here we go.
Yeah.
And that seems like when he figured it out is when he was better. Through the rest of the game is when he got confidence. He's like, oh, I can take hits. This is fine. It's just I have to deal with it.
Because that's also, as a quarterback, something you're not going to do ever in practice.
Right.
800-990-3776. We are asking you this morning, what bothered you the most about the loss? Was it the fact that they did rally and it was right there within their reach and they just couldn't finish it? Maybe it is as simple as the field goals. Maybe it is as simple as the interceptions. Maybe like Gabe, you're concerned about what that loss showed you and how that will carry on through the rest of the season. Gabe has a huge issue with the pass rush and their inability to get home. 800-990-3776. Talking Green Bay all morning long. We will get to the Brewers as well. This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. We'll be right back after this.
With a local Milwaukee team, Fifth Third Bank knows what success looks like. They've been serving businesses and individuals in the area for nearly 15 years, including a long-standing commitment to the healthcare industry. From expansion to treasury management, Fifth Third offers a full suite of financial services and solutions across the healthcare spectrum to meet the complex moments you're navigating. Fifth Third Bank, National Association, custom solutions built around your goals. Member FDIC.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy continues next on 94.5 ESPN.
Well, we got a broken down vehicle northbound on 43 right about at Keefe. The right shoulder's blocked with a semi. It's behind the barrels, so you should be able to get past it, but just something to keep in mind. Other than that, we've got some delays along 94 eastbound from about 92nd Street all the way through to 68th. Everything else looks great. And check out the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast. Today, mostly sunny, a high of 75 at the lake, 80 inland. Tonight, partly cloudy, an isolated shower to the north, a low of 59. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazagon, 94.5 ESPN.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
A heads up before something bad happens.
You should not send that text.
Uh-oh. Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can reverse prediabetes and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
I think one of the things that patients don't realize is that when they get a joint replacement, that's not a lifetime treatment option. And they're probably, if they are a younger patient, signing up for multiple surgeries down the road.
As a physician and medical director for QC Kinetics, Dr. Caravelli's seen a pattern of trending joint pain. Prolonged medication, steroids, then surgery, possibly another surgery.
So a lot of our patients are trying to avoid or put off surgery, and this is the treatment that can help them do that.
QC Kinetics extracts your body's healing substances, concentrates them back into your aching joints to help heal and restore those areas, providing lasting relief.
Oh, I love being able to tell my patients, before we do this surgery, let's try another option. Let's see if this is right for you, because now they might not have to have surgery at all.
Call today for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Lock in for October. Brewers postseason tickets are on sale now. Clear your schedule, claim your spot, and be here for a Brewers postseason run you don't want to miss at brewers.com/postseason.
They say seeing is believing, and when you see what's inside at American Place Casino, you better believe you're gonna love it. Because when it comes to amazing gaming, we're a real game changer. With the most exciting of table games like blackjack, craps, and roulette, the newest slots, a sports book, restaurants, bars, and more. So if you're ready for excitement, we'll see you soon. American Place Casino. Change the game.
Must be 21 years of age or older. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537.
Hey, it's Jason Wilde letting you know that Tausch and I are going to be out at Steinhafels in Waukesha on Friday doing our show live. Steinhafels is celebrating its 90th anniversary with its biggest, best brands, best prices sale. Take 10% off all their best brands of sofas, bedroom, and dining, including special orders. And with Steinhafels' 18-month 0% interest financing, your new room is even more affordable. So stop by and say hi this Friday as we broadcast from Steinhafels in Waukesha right off I-94 on Highway F.
With 18 unforgettable holes on 250 acres of natural private land, the Bog provides the ultimate golf experience. To book your next tee time, call 262-284-7075 or visit golfthebog.com. Enjoy golf. Enjoy the Bog.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
There's a lot of sodas now that are prebiotic sodas
they
as
don't
well.
work. They're called poop.
Well,
No, they're really called poop, I think. You buy them on Amazon.
I thought you were going to stop talking.
You got a lot of brust in you. You know that?
On 94.5 ESPN.
Second down, 8. Oh, they bring the blitz with Nixon. That's a loud ball. Scooped up on the play, taken by Green Bay. Cooper got it. But on the blitz,
Back here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy talking about the Packers' loss yesterday. An opportunity right there at the end. Dug themselves a huge hole, could not dig themselves out of it. We go to the phone lines, 800-990-3776. What is the thing that bothered you the most? Lots to choose from yesterday in the loss, the 2-point loss. But what bothers you the most? Let's go out to Ricardo in Canada. Oh, Canada. Ricardo, what bothered you the most about the Packers' loss yesterday?
The worst thing about yesterday, and the only thing that's going to come out of it, is we need to fix the kicking situation. This is a mortal wound that if it doesn't get fixed, it's going to cost us a championship again. I don't care what they have to do. Tell Rich to take a week to go to high school and bring in every kicker from around the country. We need to find one guy. There has to be one guy in America. Hell, there's somebody in Canada that can kick the ball through the uprights on a consistent basis. The fact that he missed those 2 field goals, I'm not saying that it would have changed it. It would have stopped the bleeding. It would have stopped the avalanche from happening. The offense will figure itself out when Jordan Love's knee is better. He learned in the second half. Constantly will adapt. He started sending more pressure. He moves with the game. The kicking situation is a joke. We are too good of a franchise to let this happen. Bring in anybody, somebody from the country. There's over 20 million people. One person can kick the damn ball to the upright. Find him. Anybody. I don't care if he's 50. I don't care if he's 18. Find them. Enough is enough.
Ricardo, thanks for the call. We appreciate it. Gabe and I doing a little bit of research in the break. So if you go to NFL.com, stats, special teams, field goals, you know what? Don't. Because the Packers are the 4th worst team this year at field goal percentage across the board. A little shocking team that is in there in the top 4 guys, the Ravens. I think most people think that Justin Tucker is one of the best to do it, the best of all time, and he is having a very difficult season. He is having a tough season. They are 2nd in the league at 62.5%, but the Packers are 4th worst in the league at 69.2%. And Gabe, it gets even worse if you click over to the 40 through 49 attempts versus makes. Packers are the worst team in the league. Their kicker is 3 of 6, 50% from 40 to 49, which again, we have talked about. What an asset to teams to not have to drive that far down the field and be able to put points on the board in this day and age. In this era of kickers, you should be able to put points on the board when you've got a guy kicking from 40 to 49, and they are 50% from that distance with Narveson this year.
Anything under 50 and anything under 50 yards is, I mean, I don't want to say it's a gimme, but I can't believe he missed that in the NFL. And they're shooting, they're 50% from that. It's bad. I don't know what they do. I don't know if they bring in kickers for a workout. I don't know who is out there to go find. Everybody saw it. Well, what about Mason Crosby? No, Mason Crosby is not coming back.
Who happened to be at Lambeau Field yesterday for an event, right? He was meeting people and meet and greet.
And as Jason has pointed out many a time, last year Mason was still working out, putting videos on social media. Hey, look, you need a kicker, still right here. I don't think he's been doing that. So that's not an option. I don't know what the best option is right now. I mean, bring in somebody from the outside is to me the only option, but I don't know who that is.
Do you expect them this week to go out and bring in some guys to try out? And what does that do to Narveson's psyche, which again, you and I have talked about this all the time. It's a big boy league. You got to deal with competition. If you haven't held up your end of the donkey, I would expect my bosses to go out and say, let's see if we can do better.
He needs to expect that they're bringing somebody in. And typically that tryout day is Tuesday, which is the team off day. So we'll have to keep an eye out for the Tom Silversteins, the Rob DeMott. Well, I guess Rob can't tweet it out. So just Tom Silverstein to tweet it out since Rob still hasn't gotten his account back.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Oh, he got hacked last week.
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah. He got hacked. Still doesn't have it back.
Oh, good to know. Hopefully I didn't bite on any fake Rob Demovsky tweets over the last few days. 800-990-3776. Let's go out to Dan in Sheboygan. Dan, the thing that bothered you the most about yesterday's loss?
2-point game, missed 2 field goals. How long is this franchise with that? And the San Francisco game with the block punt and the Seattle game with the onside kick. How long has this franchise been chasing special teams demons? When are they going to value special teams?
I mean, I think they do value it.
Well, and they paid the coach a lot of money. That should have been an indication that it was important to them, right?
I mean, I think that makes it worse that they value it and still are bad at it. But they definitely value it.
It would be better if they didn't value it.
Correct.
And we're bad. Because you'd have a built-in excuse.
Because you'd be like, oh, here's the solution. We just have to care about it.
But we don't care.
Yes,
so.
we just have to care about it.
Yes, but when Bisaccia is making, because again, at the time, he was the highest paid special teams coordinator or coach in the league.
So when you care about it and then you're also bad, I don't know what the solution is.
So is Matt LaFleur waning? Is Matt LaFleur starting to feel like, and look, well, if he said what he said last year about Anders, pray, right? I imagine that there's a whole freaking rosary going on at the LaFleur household when it comes to the kicker situation right now because you thought you had fixed it. Let's hear from Matt LaFleur yesterday when asked about his confidence in his kicker.
I got a lot of confidence in Braden. I do. I think that, I know it's tough. We all want the results. I think he's a young guy, and a lot of times with young kickers that you go through this. Certainly, I think I know he's disappointed, but I still got a lot of belief in him. I've seen it in practice. I told you guys from day one, the day he got here, and just have seen his ability. So, it's just part of it. Unfortunately, it wasn't his day. But I got a lot of confidence, and it wouldn't blink if we have to put him out there in another situation.
Here's the problem. I'm not saying that Matt LaFleur is lying. I would never say that. What I am saying is talent alone at that position in particular, Gabe, is not the thing that matters most. It's cojones. It just is. You're out there all alone. You're on an island, maybe the snapper, right? And the guy and the holder, but you have to put it through. If you're in that position, it's because your offense wasn't able to get it in the end zone, right? But the consolation is, well, we didn't get 6/7, but we're going to get 3. We're going to settle for 3. And if you don't have the confidence or the cojones to believe that you can stand in that position and get your team points, it doesn't matter how talented you are. And this guy could have all the talent in the world. He could make every single kick during practice. And it doesn't matter if you can't do it when there's 80,000 people in the stands and the game is on the line.
LaFleur has to say that because Narveson still could be the kicker next week. I mean, they could bring in 3 kickers tomorrow for a workout and still decide, we still like our chances better with Narveson. So he can't be up there at the podium going, no, our guy stinks. We got to replace him. But if they can't find anybody better to replace him. So I don't know how much Matt LaFleur believes that. I just do know that that's what he has to say when asked about the kicker that's currently on his team.
So the kicker seems to be getting a lot of votes as for the thing that is bothering people the most this morning. Is that because it's a singular thing? Some of these other things, like you mentioned, the pass rush specifically, that is a unit thing, maybe even a coaching thing, right? There's no coaching involved with Narveson missing field goals, right? What does the coach say to him? Make it.
Yeah.
So is it people kind of are moved towards that? There's they're pulled towards the kicker because the other things are a little more involved or difficult to identify. Like you're talking about the pass rush. That's not just one player or one thing that they need to do to improve that. That's a whole unit thing. Is that your vibe on that? It's a little more complicated to
this is the easiest
diagnose and fix?
This is the easiest thing to point to. And again, I honestly don't know. If he makes both of those kicks, the game is just so different. The Vikings play it differently. If he makes both those kicks, I don't know if the Packers win or lose. Honestly, have no idea.
Really?
Yeah.
Just because from a simple math standpoint, it feels like they win.
Correct. But again, the Vikings play things differently, right? They're not just grinding it out. I mean, do they score a touchdown? Do they make it 38-29 instead of,
a field goal?
Yeah. Well, not even a field goal. They turned it over on downs late in the game. And instead of just trying to get Aaron Jones his touchdown, if it's a tighter game, maybe Sam Darnold throws it to Justin Jefferson and that puts it out of reach. I don't know. The Vikings play it differently. Yes, from a pure math standpoint, 6 points, they lost by 2, they win by 4. I don't think it's that simple. Because he missed those field goals relatively still early in the game. So it's an easy thing to point to because you can see it with your eyes. Oh, he missed that. The kicker is one of those things in sports that is purely 1 or 0. Did he make the kick? Did he miss the kick? Well, I keep seeing this guy misses the kicks, and that's bad for my team. So it's very easy to diagnose, and it's very easy to go, that needs to be better. It's just super easy. And yeah, it needs to be better. I don't try. How much confidence do you have from Narveson from under 40 yards?
Not a lot.
What about between 40 and 50?
Also not a lot.
What about over 50?
None.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, just figure out when we would get there. Yeah. 0. 800-990-3776. We will put it on the Jen, Gabe, and Chewy Twitter poll this morning. Do you have confidence in the Packers kicker? Do you have confidence when he goes out there, he will put points on the board? I imagine that the Packers will be looking around to see if there's anyone else out there. But because they have protected guys' feelings in the past, there's a part of them that feels like by doing that, Gabe, they have put themselves in a tough spot. Because we have talked about how at times they have continued to publicly give guys flowers and give guys, shower them with praise and things like that. When you're going, really? things aren't as great as you're making them seem, but it's because they don't want them to. And Malik Willis is a great example of that, right?
Yeah, but
have they gotten themselves in trouble essentially by kind of going that path instead of just the straight accountability? It wasn't good enough. We expect him to be better, and we'll have to figure out a way to make it better.
Sure, but with Narveson, I don't know if Narveson's one of their guys yet, right? They traded for Malik with a plan. Okay, Malik's going to be our long-term backup. Like, this guy's going to be here. We're going to develop him. This is our plan. I don't know if they picked up Narveson because their long-term plan didn't work out. And I wonder how much, Brian Gutekunst admitting that he gets impatient with the kicker is going to play a factor into this. Is he actually going to be impatient with the kicker? Is he going to try to show and exercise patience this time around? It's going to be fascinating to see if they bring in anybody tomorrow.
800-990-3776. Did it seem like the Vikings were oftentimes grabbing at Jordan's leg? That from Ben. Not kicker related, but an interesting concept. Look, if you're out there, you're out there, right? Like, all bets are off. All's fair in love and war type of thing. Like, if you have a knee injury, and I'm not saying that you should be dastardly, but I am saying that if you know somebody's been dealing with a leg and you got to make a tackle, I think it was the sack that he's probably referring to specifically, where he's grabbing around that left ankle and pulling. I got no problem with it. That's football.
Well,
it's making a play.
And also, like, if you're trying to bring down a quarterback in the pocket, your hit zone is so different in the way you can bring him down and all these different things. So I did not notice anything yesterday that I thought the Vikings were intentionally going out of their way to go after Jordan Love's knee.
Don weighing in saying, game review, the team was not motivated. Starters on the offensive line don't fear being replaced because there is no one to replace them. The defensive front seven are so overpaid. They need motivation and change. Kicker needs coaching. Same miss to the right. He falls away pushing the ball right. Get better, Pack, get better. That from Don in Mayville. And Justin, of course, stating the obvious, way too many dropped passes. Got to clean up all the flags and can't create pressure with 4. It does feel like because there were so many things that you can point at, we should be feeling depressed, despondent, frustrated. I don't feel that way this morning. And maybe it's because the second half was the balm to the first half for me. And I was like, okay, I know this team can put up points. I know this team can win games. But Gabe, you're saying that defense could be its Achilles heel.
Yeah, without a doubt.
We'll get into that as the show rolls on right here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Guys, I'm telling you, if you're making plans to propose that special someone in your life, the Jewelry Center is the only place to go for that ring. They're the best place to shop in Milwaukee for diamond engagement rings for a reason. It's what I did. It's what you should do as well. Maybe you don't really have an idea of what that perfect ring looks like. Well, go on our Pinterest page, grab some of those ideas, bring them into the Jewelry Center, and the helpful team that Dean has assembled is always going to point you in the right direction. Whether you're looking for a lab-grown diamond, whether you're looking for a naturally mined diamond, the Jewelry Center has it. Check out their inventory at any one of their 3 locations, Greenfield, Brookfield, or in Burlington, or shop online at shoptjc.com. Make sure you tell them that Gabe and Chew sent you.
More Jen, Gabe, and Chewy coming up on 94.5 ESPN.
We're looking at a bit of a backup eastbound 94 as you're making your way out of the zoo interchange through the stadium. Southbound on 43, backups from just south of Silver Spring all the way down to Capitol. Northbound on 4394, slowing down from Howard Avenue up past Oklahoma. And check out the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today. Mostly sunny, a high of 75 at the lakefront, 80 inland. Tonight, partly cloudy, isolated showers to the north, a low of 59. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga, 94.5 ESPN.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
Hey, it's Gabe Neitzel from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. You've heard me talk about the results mentality has had on my life, but don't just take it from me. Jason has had success too, thanks to mentality.
My only regret is I didn't do it sooner. Knowing once again I've gotten the treatments done and continuing, I do feel, stuff does hurt a little bit more, but I'm 40, in my 40s, and that's going to happen. But again, the energy levels, it is above and beyond. Again, I'm back in that age where I'm like, this is amazing.
Get started today at lowtusa.com. Hey,
Hey, sports fans, looking to level up your next private event? V Private Bar Services is your game changer. Move beyond the ordinary. V Private Bar Services crafts custom cocktails tailored to your brand and your guests' taste. Imagine a bar experience that's as unique as your business. Our expert mixologists will create a memorable experience that your clients and team will rave about. From signature cocktails to full-service bars, we've got you covered. Be the MVP of your next event. Visit vprivatebar.com/MVP to book today.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Milwaukee College Prep, dedicated to closing the opportunity gap for children in Milwaukee, redefining what's educationally possible so more children can pursue their dreams. Join me, Good Karma Brand's founder CEO Craig Karmazin, and Milwaukee College Prep Thursday, October 17th, and take a stand in closing the opportunity gap for Milwaukee scholars. Your support means quality education accessible to over 2,000 scholars in Milwaukee's most challenged communities. Milwaukee College Prep is closing the opportunity gap. To learn more and purchase tickets, go to MilwaukeeCollegePrep.com and click support.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
I just figured if I got the yellow ones from Mexico, I could slip those in without her. Did you know the Viagra in Mexico is yellow?
Had no idea.
Yeah.
Wait, can you just paint it? You just drop it in a little food coloring?
You probably
call it
could, like an egg.
I'm
gonna try that.
Easter has a new meaning in the Chimera household.
On 94.5 ESPN.
Second down goal. Love and leaping catch. Touchdown! Jaden Reed beating Byron Murphy. And the Packers are finally on the board.
Packers fall to 2-2 yesterday with the loss to the Vikings, and Gabe had a real problem with the defense. I guess we're giving Jordan a pass, which I think is understandable. Considering he was coming off the injury, considering we weren't sure if we were going to see him, it was a blessing to have Jordan Love back out there. But Gabe was way in front of this. Early last week, he said he's going to be rusty. He's not going to be the Jordan Love at the end of last year when he was in a rhythm, where he had found something. There are going to be struggles and challenges for the QB.
I appreciate that you've apologized, Jen. Josh, you have anything you'd like to say?
Never. We celebrate wins here.
All right. All right.
I thought we were team accountability. Thought we did a whole show one morning about how we were like, no? Okay.
What am I going to apologize for? For being like, hey, the Packers won and there's things to be excited about?
Well, yeah, but at the time, we were having a different conversation.
Yeah, but the conversation was precipitated by you after the Packers won 2 in a row with a backup quarterback. Being like, oh, but what about next? Well, can I enjoy it?
Me being right?
Can I enjoy it once?
I was right, though, right? Play the Gabe you were right button back there.
That one's broken.
Even worse, it doesn't exist. It's way worse than it actually existing and being broken. 800-990-3776. What is the one thing that bothered you the most about yesterday's loss?
Because you walked in feeling pretty good this morning. What's the thing that bothered you the most?
Probably the interceptions. Just again, even if Jordan was going to be not the Jordan Love that we saw last year, just giving the ball to the opponent in a division game that often, that's what stung. You know, and again, were there jokes about him wearing the Brett Favre jersey into the stadium yesterday? Yes, there were many jokes. Yes, if you're going to honor Favre, I guess this is how you do it. You know,
have a great game and a bad game simultaneously.
All in one.
It's fantastic.
But we joke. All kidding aside, it was a nice gesture by Jordan to wear the Favre jersey after what Favre revealed earlier this week.
The only interception that really bothered me was the one in the end zone, where he just chucked it up. Because there was the one interception that went through Was it Musgrave or Kraft's hands?
Musgrave.
Went through Musgrave's. I mean, the throw's a little high, but whatever.
It was supposed to be the Dobbs, is what we've found out, and that's why Dobbs was so mad because he thought he would have caught it, but it hit both of their hands.
Yeah. So, and then it just, because the way it ended up getting tipped, it just fell right into the defensive back's lap for the Vikings. And again, the only one I really thought was truly egregious was just kind of losing your cool and chucking it up for grabs in the end zone.
I'm always going to have a problem with penalties. I know it's an age-old coachism that the mental mistakes, those are the things you really don't ever want to see. So again, as you mentioned, Gabe, that is something that they need to continue to clean up. But it was not as disappointing at the end as I thought it was going to be. I was much angrier when they were pitching a shutout early on, and I thought, show a little pride. Where the hell, you know what I mean? Like, get yourself out of this hole. Put some points on the board. Guys, you're better than this. And obviously in the second half, I feel like they redeemed themselves in that space. I want to stay with the defense, though, because we had talked about this defense was going to be the thing. We knew what the offense could do. This defense was going to be the thing that either wins them a championship or keeps them from it. And so far, 4 games in, Gabe, are you telling me that even with them leading the league in takeaways headed into yesterday's game, even with those details, you are still not sold on Jeff Hafley's defense?
They're 20th in points, 21st in yards. And the turnovers are great. And you want to be able to create those turnovers, certainly. And it's great that they have more interceptions already through 4 games than they had all of last year. I think those are all positive things. But also, when you're playing the best teams, when you're playing the teams that you have to and the ones that are, that you're going to have to play in the postseason, those teams turn the ball over less. You're not going to be able to create 3 turnovers more than likely in that game. Maybe you get 1 interception, but you've just got to play better overall fundamental defense. I mean, under Joe Barry, last year they were 10th in points, 17th in yards. 2022, they were 17th in both. 2021, 13th in points, 9th in yards. 20th in points, 21st in yards. So even though they're getting those turnovers, they're still giving up a crap ton of yards. They're still giving up a crap ton of points.
Well, and I think the concern is also, guys, if you read or listen to the sound from defensive players, it seems like they feel like I feel, which is, oh, yeah, it was bad, but look how close we came to winning. Look how close we came to actually pulling that sucker out. Like, if you read from Edgerrin Cooper and you read from Xavier McKinney, they're all saying things like, yeah, it wasn't our best effort, but we almost won.
Yeah, because
Did you notice how we almost won?
Because the offense almost had a miraculous comeback. And again, if you had the inkling that Jordan Love was going to come out rusty, and again, I think you probably could have an idea, you got to start faster. You have to make sure that you don't dig yourself a big enough hole that it seems almost impossible to come out, and it was impossible to come out of yesterday because they didn't do it. Would have been the largest comeback in franchise history, 28 points. So you got to play better. I don't care that you got close to winning. The reason why you lost is because you gave up 31 points. Probably could have given up more.
800-990-3776. Xavier McKinney becomes the first Packer in franchise history with 4 picks through his first 4 games with the team. I still think he is a great addition to this defense. I still think that by season's end, we are going to be talking about him potentially as one of the best to ever play in the defensive backfield for the Green Bay Packers, and that is saying a lot considering, I don't know, you got Leroy Butler out there who is a Hall of Famer and a Pro Football Hall of Famer who donned the green and gold.
The other name worth mentioning here is the last person to pick off for in a row, Nick Collins. And everyone started talking about him feeling like a Nick Collins type addition. And so far, he's fit the bill in every imaginable way. I think there's a big issue on the front 7. Mm-hmm. I am a little more optimistic because I think the defense is more opportunistic, and I think Jeff Hafley can get them there. I think he's going to help them overcome some deficiencies, but there is nothing he can do about not getting home at all. Right. He could call the best defensive game ever. And if you can't create any pressure, like Kenny Clark, Rashawn Gary, where are you? And I've always been a Kenny Clark supporter, but he has been virtually non-existent. And I know we're all down on Devontae Wyatt, but if he misses substantial time, that's a big problem because he's leading that front seven in sacks right now.
Devontae Wyatt's the one guy who's actually looked like he's improved in the front seven under Jeff Hafley. It seems like, this one where he doesn't, he seems more assignment sure. He can be more aggressive the way he was at Georgia. He seemed more like the guy, really the only one.
Correct.
So I'm 100% with you. If he's out,
maybe we haven't talked enough about the fact that Jair Alexander was out. Guys, where did that even come from? I asked my husband, I said, I'm not here on Fridays, right? And I'm covering college football and I'm in the mix there. But all of a sudden he shows up on the injury report and it was like, Jair Alexander may not play on Sunday. What? What is your understanding of what happened there?
So it was a quad that limited him initially. That's what he was listed as. And again, at this point in the season, when somebody's limited in practice, unless you're told by somebody, whether it's with the staff or somebody like Adam Schefter saying, hey, pay attention to this, somebody's limited in practice, especially back-to-back days, you're going, okay, especially Jair. He's a veteran at this point. All right, they're taking it easy because he knows what he's got to do to get his body ready if he has to play injured. But when they added the groin and he did not practice at all on Friday, that's when suddenly it's like, and now he's questionable. Excuse me, what? He didn't practice and now he's questionable? So there are a lot of questions that I think have to be answered there. I don't know if it was a groin all along, and who knows? But if he's out significant amount of time, that's certainly going to hurt. But it wasn't just him; it was also him and Valentine, because those are your top two corners. So now you're playing a game without your top two. And again, I think that's why Hafley decided not to be as aggressive as he was in the second half, because he wanted to try to, generate pressure with just 4 to try to do his best to protect those guys on the back end. And in the second half, down 28, you're just throwing all caution to the wind trying to come back.
Yeah, Nick in the 262 is willing to use that as not an excuse, but an explanation. He says when you lose your best CB, and you mentioned it wasn't just the one, but it was the 2, the whole defensive game plan changes, especially the pass rush, when you don't trust the backups. Let's get to Matt LaFleur, who was... Go ahead.
You still have to generate pressure with 4. That has nothing to do with Jair being injured. Have to generate pressure with 4. And again, that's not a Hafley problem. That's a player problem. They don't, right now, their front 4, not playing good enough. Has to be better. And if they can't play good enough, then we have to take a deeper look at who they're drafting there and why they're giving them the money.
Let's hear from Matt LaFleur, who was asked about Jair being out and how that affected the defense as a whole.
It is what it is. That's no different than an in-game injury. You got to make an adjustment as a staff, and to me, that's an excuse. I will never use that around here. Next man up, we gotta adjust our game plan if need be. Does it help you? Absolutely not. I mean, you want your best players out there, but I'll never go down that road of using that as an excuse.
But we recognize that there is a drop-off from your starters to your backup, right? We can't sit here and be like, oh, no, a guy who is the backup player at any given position is supposed to play as though he is as good as the starter. There is a talent drought there, or the guy wouldn't be a backup.
Sure, but you have to figure out a way to win, right? We weren't making excuses. Hey, they won games with,
Malik
at the
Willis.
most important position, they figured it out with Malik Willis. So injuries are part of the NFL. And if Jair's going to be out, who knows what this injury is? Maybe he's back against the Rams. Maybe it ends up being a long-term injury. We just don't know enough about it. And he was out for 10 games last year. I don't remember having this conversation last year and, let's give Joe Barry a break because Jair, he missed 9 because of injury, 1 because he was suspended after the whole Carolina thing. But nobody was giving Joe Barry, just because we like Jeff Hafley, we want to give him a pass on that. Injuries are a part of the NFL. And you got to be able to figure it out.
800-990-3776. The thing that upset you the most, that bothered you the most, that frustrated you the most about the Packers' 2-point loss to the Vikings yesterday at Lambeau Field. We continue to roll on here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Guys, I want to tell you about my friends over at AccuTrans. They're a veteran-owned business dedicated to providing unmatched corporate, personal, and event-related transportation that you will use again and again. Whether it's corporate travel or a wedding or group events, AccuTrans caters to every occasion. I keep telling you guys, we are hitting dance season. Maybe you have a high schooler like I do who wants to go to the big dance but can't drive themselves yet. Or maybe you don't want the kids driving because they're going to be having a lot of fun out there. Accutrans is the way to go, guys. Call up Accutrans, tell them where you need them to go. They'll pick them at your house. They'll take them to dinner. They'll take them from dinner to the dance. They'll take them from dance to home, and you don't have to worry on your Saturday night. Accutransgroup.com is the site for reliable and safe transportation that I use for me and my family.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy are back after this on 94.5 ESPN.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tauscher, and summer is here. But if you want your parking lots and asphalt to be ready for winter, you have to remember the 3 R's from Johnson & Sons Paving. Reseal every 2 to 3 years. Repair when you see signs of cracking or potholes. And replace if there's constant standing water, buckling, or sinking. Don't scare customers or tenants away because of a bad parking lot. Connect with Johnson & Sons today before minor repairs end up being huge headaches. Schedule an appointment at johnsonsonspaving.com.
Jen Latta here from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. I have told you about the delicious pizza you can find at Proof Pizza inside St. Kate. Now there's even more to be excited about with new sandwiches on the menu. Available every day from 11 to 4, you can enjoy options like the turkey pesto, the meatball hero, the Italian hoagie, and more. Skip the same old lunch at your desk and grab a delicious sandwich from Proof instead. Order inside the restaurant or directly from the bar at St. Kate. Explore the new sandwiches and the rest of the menu at proofpizzamke.com.
They say seeing is believing, and when you see what's inside at American Place Casino, you better believe you're gonna love it. Because when it comes to amazing gaming, we're a real game changer. With the most exciting of table games like blackjack, craps, and roulette, the newest slots, a sports book, restaurants, bars, and more. So if you're ready for excitement, we'll see you soon. American Place Casino. Change the game.
Must be 21 years of age or older. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537.
Guys, let's be honest. We like simple stuff. We like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated and uncompromising. Like an award-winning men's grooming experience from Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men in Oak Creek on Howell Avenue, just south of Putes Road. Open 7 days a week, even Sundays. Walk in anytime, and before you know it, our talented stylist will bring you back to a simpler time. A time when you were handsome and clean. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men in Oak Creek on Howell Avenue, just south of Putes Road. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Hey you, daydreaming about that perfect house again? Hi, it's John Reeds from Great Midwest Bank, and whether your dream includes buying or building or renovating your current home, I'm happy to report that mortgage rates are finally starting to turn around. So make those dreams a reality with a custom-fit Great Midwest Bank mortgage product. We've been serving Southeast Wisconsin homeowners for nearly 90 years. Find a local experienced loan officer at greatmidwestbank.com. We can't wait to get started. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local equal housing lender.
You're listening to Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Thesaurus
What's a click below dumb?
You. No.
That's fine. No, that's what I was getting at.
Good pop.
I know.
Unnecessary.
I'm not dumb. I'm one click below dumb. We need to find out what that word is.
Don't you want to be one click above dumb?
Oh, that's right. I'm one click above.
On 94.5 ESPN.
Coverage on 94.5 ESPN is part of the Hunt for Brew October. It is sponsored by Delta Dental. Brewers, they're done for, right? Season is over. They move on to the postseason, but there are still questions about who they will play because
chaos!
There is a doubleheader in Major League Baseball today that directly impacts who the Brewers play in the first round of the postseason game.
3 teams still alive. Diamondbacks, they are done. Then you have the Braves, you have the Mets. And the Braves and Mets are playing a doubleheader. Games that are going to be on ESPN2, by the way. So if you want to check those out, go ahead, watch on ESPN2. If one of those teams splits, that means the Diamondbacks will be in, and they will be coming to Milwaukee for that game that starts around 4:30 tomorrow afternoon. If they end up splitting, the Diamondbacks are out, Mets and the Braves are in. Braves get all the tiebreakers. They become the 5th seed. Mets would come here tomorrow for game 1 of the 3-game series.
All right, so what are you rooting for?
Well, I don't want the Diamondbacks, so I would prefer the Mets. And the best way to do that would be the Braves winning game 1, and then the Mets win game 2, because you have to have the split. And if whoever wins game 1 today is probably going to take game 2 pretty easily, because they've got a game they have to play that means a whole heck of a lot the following day. And the second game of the doubleheader doesn't mean a ton to them because they're already in. Winner of game 1 gets in. So if the Mets lose game 1, they still have to play game 2 as if it's a must-win, because it is. So they've got to use more of their pitching. They have to go a little bit harder before then turning around and coming to Milwaukee tomorrow.
Are we setting up for potential double locker room celebration here for teams making the playoffs with a split? Like, if they do split, because you're not going to celebrate between games.
Sure.
So then, in the event of a split, you've got 2 teams in each locker room popping champagne.
Sure, but also I don't know how quickly or how long those celebrations are going to last, because as I mentioned, the Brewers are starting their series at 4:30 tomorrow.
Yeah, that's true.
So you got to get on that plane and get to Milwaukee quickly if you're the Mets.
What a bizarre situation to find yourselves in.
I absolutely love it.
So you'll be tuned in. You'll be locked in.
You can't pry me away from that television.
It's an absolute terrible situation for the teams having to go through it and do quick turnaround.
God, if this was the Brewers, I'd be so mad.
Yeah,
but also from a Brewers standpoint, exactly. The fact that you are in action today, the fact that you have to use your pitching staff today and then start a series. Why are you so high on them playing the Mets versus the Diamondbacks?
Because the Diamondbacks have been one of the best offenses in baseball. Really, I think since either June 1st or middle of June, they've kind of refound the form in the second half of the season to what they were a year ago. And again, the Mets coming off of this, the Diamondbacks are sitting there. They don't have anything to do today. Like the Diamondbacks, can't really do much at this point. So they're going to be more rested. They're going to be ready to go. Whereas again, the Mets may have to use some pitchers today in order to clinch their playoff spot that they would have liked to use tomorrow, but now won't be able to use tomorrow. It just puts the Brewers at a much more competitive advantage. I look at the Mets lineup. I'm not super scared by it versus the Diamondbacks lineup.
Big day for Major League Baseball. A doubleheader after 162 to determine playoff seeding still in the National League. We roll on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy right after this.
Never miss out on a second of the show. Find Jen, Gabe, and Chewy on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand. Sponsored by Celsius Essential Energy Drink.
We're looking at a bit of a backup eastbound 94 as you're making your way out of the Zoo interchange through the stadium. Southbound on 43 backups from just south of Silver Spring all the way down to Capitol. Northbound on 4394 slowing down from Howard Avenue up past Oklahoma. And check out the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today. Mostly sunny, a high of 75 at the lakefront, 80 inland. Tonight, partly cloudy, isolated showers to the north, a low of 59. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga, 94.5 ESPN.
Hey, Milwaukee sports fans. It's Brad Nortman from Kyle Bruston Nortman. You've invested too much into that nice ride, so don't settle for a gas station car wash. Treat it to a Tsunami Express car wash. State-of-the-art wash technology, powerful free vacuums, and unlimited wash memberships. Now with 5 locations across Greater Milwaukee, Tsunami Express is your go-to spot for a flawless finish and a first-class car wash every time. Trust me, your car will thank you. Sign up for a membership online at TsunamiExpress.com and get your first wash free. Tsunami Express Car Wash. Wash, chill, repeat.
Lock in for October. Brewers postseason tickets are on sale now. Clear your schedule, claim your spot, and be here for a Brewers postseason run you don't want to miss at brewers.com/postseason.
Stay up to date on the Green and Gold all season. The Green and Gold Fix podcast is brought to you by Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Luxury stay, elite play, unwind in sophisticated comfort. Win big, dine, and experience the events in Milwaukee.
Marquette Hall of Famer Tony Smith here. You're listening to the home of Marquette basketball. 94.5 ESPN is WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station. Showtime. The right way to start your day. This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Jet sweep, Addison. Broke one, got a terrific block down there from Jefferson. It's a touchdown for the Vikings. Love, and leaping catch, touchdown! Jaden Reed beating Byron Murphy. And the Packers are finally on the board. 37-yard field goal is away. Oh, it hits the upright. No good. Outside they go to Kraft. The tight end got by Smith to the goal line. Touchdown! Leighton Narveson will try a 49-yard field goal. There is wind, and the kick is no good. He's missed 2. Luck, 372 through the air. Look out, Van Ginkel to the end zone. Caught! hits. Love his 4th touchdown pass today.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios at the Avenue with Gabe Neitzel and Mark Chamorro. Here's Jen Latta.
In a shocking development, guys, NFL games are 60 minutes long. I know. It's news to the Packers, who chose to play about 28 yesterday when they lost to the Vikings. I'm not worried, though. Again, I said I thought I would feel worse the way the game was trending. At half, I was like, oh, God, I'm just going to be beside myself, despondent, angry, frustrated, because they looked totally inept in the first half. Mistakes, interceptions, the balls that he was throwing low, not being able to get the Vikings off the field on third down, all of it. But there was something about the way that they persevered. There was something about the way that they adjusted. There was something about the way that they figured some things out and looked better in the second half that allowed me to pressure release. Okay, it wasn't great. You lost a division game. Probably should have won. But I don't feel as bad as I thought I would feel. That being said, what the hell happened yesterday when Matt LaFleur was trying to call timeout in the second quarter, and it looked like the official looked right at him as he was calling timeout, and then it looked like the official ignored him, and then LaFleur gets an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty for getting angry that his timeout call was ignored. Like that was a bizarre turn of events. Let's hear what Matt LaFleur had to say about how that all shook out.
Did you get an explanation as to why they didn't apparently hear you or react when you were trying to call the timeout? You could see on the replay calling it, and did Vinovich acknowledge that while you might
be too demonstrative? So, I mean, because I didn't like cuss at the official or anything like that, but he said I was too demonstrative. So that's what he called.
Your frustration, your demonstrative reaction was based on the line judge not responding?
Yeah, I don't want to get into that. Like, I don't know. I was trying to call timeout. I didn't think they saw me. So it is what it is. They made the call. They made the call.
Gabe, what was your reaction to that bizarre turn of events?
I mean, he can't be storming onto the field like that, I guess. You know, if you want to get the timeout, usually you see it so many times where coaches come sprinting down the sideline to get
is
the
allowed,
attention.
as they discussed on the broadcast.
Sprinting down the sideline to get the attention of the line judge instead of sprinting onto the field the way that Matt LaFleur did. But I understand being an official is a tough job, but come on, man. Like, looked like you looked right at him. Like, there was an angle where it looks like the line judge looks over, sees Matt LaFleur, who's got his hands up in the air, you know, making the T that everybody does, trying to call timeout, and then just, no, I'm going to look back at the play. What are we doing here?
It did feel a little bit representative of the day, didn't it, Joshy? It did feel like, or at least the half, because it was in the second quarter, I believe. It felt representative of the way the game had gone. Like, why would you expect that to go your way? Nothing else has gone your way.
Yeah, the fact that they said it was just too demonstrative and he was too mean to them. He didn't curse, but demonstrative is like, well, get a grip. This is a big boy league. You guys are paid a lot of money to be out there, and you're paid a lot of money, frankly, to not even be all that accurate that often. You can get away with not making the correct calls sometimes. So, you don't want 15 yards, and in the end, it didn't end up actually hurting the Packers because they scored. But like that to me is just simply like, what's that line judge doing if he's not hearing and seeing Matt LaFleur sprint? Was he just running down there because he wanted to hang out with them? Like, what else would he be doing? You're not allowed down there unless you're calling a timeout. Mm-hmm. So if you see the guy out of the corner of your vision,
you're saying the default setting should be he must be calling a timeout.
Why is he down here? Yeah, he's down here for a reason.
Let's use our deductive reasonings as an official. Why would this coach be down here? He'll probably just to curse you. No, he wants to get your attention for a timeout. God, that was just a weirdly officiated game between all the catches and the interception that stood and it was just a strange game from that court.
How did that shake out for you? Was it you thought the one that was deemed not a catch was a catch, and you thought that the other one that was deemed a catch was not a catch? Like, how did it shake out for you?
I thought all of them should have been catches. Because to me, you caught the ball, But then, based on how the first three went, I thought there was no way the Xavier McKinney interception was standing, because by the time he actually controlled it, he was out of bounds.
The thing that frustrates me about the Wicks ruled incompletion, the guy who ruled it incomplete had no chance of actually seeing if it was or was not. He was behind the play. And the call, you needed to be in front of it to get a good sight of it. So he ruled incompletion without knowing for sure it was. He just went, well, it looked pretty low. He probably didn't get his hand under it, which was not the case. And then that's where you have the burden of irrefutable proof to overturn a call. So they double screwed up on that. I thought we were at a place where the NFL kind of decided we don't need 100% security all the way through. Like, there can be a little movement as long as you have a hand attached to it. And that seemed to have gone out the window yesterday. They needed 100% no budging of the ball for it to be ruled a catch.
Except for the Xavier McKinney interception.
With the ball, while he was out of bounds, was still in the air.
Correct.
Which, what happened? Yeah, it was like here, we kind of screwed you to have this one.
800-990-3776 regarding Matt LaFleur getting the unsportsmanlike conduct. Lots of folks weighing in. Dave and Aaron saying, I liked angry LaFleur, showed some heat. Meanwhile, Justin saying, I loved seeing Matt get all fired up. He's usually so tame. It was nice to see him like that. Seemed like the team might have responded to that a bit too. Would you buy that, Gabe? No. That him getting fired up was like, oh, maybe we should also get fired up.
No, I especially in professional football, like hearing Chewy talk, the mentality that you have to go out there, I don't think there's just a switch you flip in terms of the mentality, you know? I mean, they were already moving the ball at that point. They were inside the red zone. They end up punching it in. The next play or the play after, LaFleur gets the penalty. I rarely buy into, hey, this team's now going to get fired up because their coach just got a 15-yard penalty in football specifically.
I think we all never want to blame officiating, but I don't think we can ignore how the outcome of that first half would have changed had some of those calls gone the Packers' ways. Like, extended drives there would have done a lot for, I think, the defense and for the offense to get some confidence and Jordan to get some confidence. Like that Romeo Doubs one not being a catch, which I think was probably the closest one to where I would have the least problem, but as it continued to cascade, it became a bigger issue. Like, we talked about it like with the Badgers game. You have to understand the texture and context of a game, and the way those ended up having to be punts and giving them right back the ball to which they scored, I think set the Packers behind in a way that would have probably been a lot different had they gone the way we all wanted.
So Gabe keeps saying that he is encouraged by the offense, that what he saw yesterday, maybe it was just the life they showed in the second half that reminded him this could be a very good offense in the league. Gabe, if you had to rate the offense right now in the National Football League, are they a top 10 offense in the league right now?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
By season's end, can they be a top 5 offense in the league?
I think statistically they're a top 5 offense right now. In terms of their yards and points, I think they might be up there right now because, you get 29 points. That's a lot of points in an NFL game in the first, in the first quarter of the season in 2024. They racked up the yards.
They smashed the over, huh? They absolutely destroyed the, what was it, 44? Crap, I don't remember, but it was in the 40s.
Yeah. They combined for 60, so they sprinted past it. But you saw in that second half, yes, Jordan still made some bad decisions, but, Wicks had some drops where he was pretty open. Like Tucker Kraft fumbled the football trying to make a play, but there were guys really open in that second half. And then when you pair that with the way they've been able to run the football in the first handful of weeks, I think you get a game plan going and you get this offense clicking early. We can balance that a little bit more because Jordan throwing the ball 54 times is not ideal. I think that this offense is really going to be cooking. I do not have any issues right now with this offense.
I think it's extremely encouraging. The amount, remember we were just talking about the lack of explosive plays and big plays for the league as a whole. The Packers seem to be reeling off multiples per game with different quarterbacks at this. Like, guys are open and they're open deep, which if you watched some of the teams were used to doing that, that's been a real problem for almost everyone.
But that's scheme thing, right?
It's scheme, and it's also talent. Like, some of those guys are just hard for other people to. Jaden Reed is taking shorter catches, and he's also playing bigger than his size with jump balls. It's a multifaceted thing where I think that's going to translate and be a huge asset moving forward.
Yeah, this offense is. Again, do I think that Jordan Love's going to clean up the interceptions? Yeah, I would be floored if he has another 3 interception game. Absolutely floored. Like I can't imagine that happening again. I think he's going to just continue to get better as he gets more comfortable with the knee, as the knee continues to get better. You saw how accurate he kind of figured it out in the second half. Again, outside of the just boneheaded decision to just chuck one up when Harrison Smith was, barreling down on him as a free blitzer, and he just decided to chuck one up there. He was really good in the second half, and that's the Jordan Love that I think we're getting for the rest of the year.
So I think it's easy for us to say that the issues that they had in the first half it's easy to chalk them up to Jordan just being rusty, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because it's not like Matt LaFleur was like, we're going to do a crap game plan. We're going to do a crap game plan in the first half, and then we're going to do a good game plan in the second half. It was just not crap. It was just as simple as, hey, the plays were there to be made, and Jordan was unable to make the plays.
Yeah, there were just some low throws. There were some throws off the mark where he just didn't.
Which, by the way, if Jordan is hitting the guys in the numbers on those, then we're not having the conversation of was it a catch, was it not a catch?
Correct.
The ground of hit the ball and all the things that we saw numerous times.
Yeah. But the defense was still an issue because it was way too easy for the Vikings in the first half.
Okay, an issue enough that you think it is going to keep them from being a championship level team?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. The best teams in this league generate pressure with 4. They don't have to blitz all the time.
So what would your solution to that be? Because it can't just be better.
I don't know if there is a solution. If Rashawn Gary could be better, do we think he'd have more than 1 sack over the last 11 games? Maybe the knee injury robbed him of more athleticism than we want to admit. It's certainly a possibility at this point because we're more than a year removed. He got that grant, he got that pass last year, even though he started off great. He had a couple of 3 sack games early, but didn't have a sack in the month of December or January last year. Doesn't have a sack has 1 sack in the month of September this year. Now he's the one that's getting paid all this money, and he's got to step up, and he has to make those plays.
All right, let's go Seinfeld scale for you on that. Let's go Seinfeld scale on the defense. You're clearly not yada, yada, yada.
Correct.
Are you a little stressed?
I'm stressed.
But you're not freaking out. Why are you not freaking out?
Because
if you're not
Xavier
sure
McKinney's really good.
Yes, but he's playing all the way back.
But he can make enough big
backfield.
plays. He can make enough big plays, I think, and get everybody lined up. And between him and Jeff Hafley, I think that this defense can be competent enough where they're going to put together a good record. I just have questions about when they play a good offense like this Minnesota Viking offense is. And I know
that can threaten you and hurt you with the run and the pass.
Yes. That's when it becomes difficult.
800-990-3776. Let's go out to the phone lines. Paul waiting online to talk about the front seven. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Doing great, man.
What I was thinking is we have a front seven who's been coached by Joe Barry, who had a certain style for multiple years, and it doesn't instantly switch in your head, oh, I have to do it completely different from how I've been trained. And I think if we give the defense just a little bit more time to adapt to that style, we might see some more. I'm not saying they're going to be great, but I think they're going to be better.
Sure, when it comes to like scheming stuff up, but when it comes to a pass rush, don't you think it's just Rashawn Gary versus their tackle? Like I think that's just, if there was a pass rush move that Rashawn Gary was doing and it was successful under Joe Barry, like he's not going to get a new coaching staff and go, yeah, don't do that pass rush move. You know what I'm saying?
No, I know exactly what you're saying. And there's different pass rush moves for different events and different types of setups. Like, and even getting beyond, I'm going to bull rush, I'm going to spin. I mean, there's big arm, short arm to twist the guy. There's how to rip through and swim. And if your gap control is the number one, you kind of put some of those ideas in the back burner a bit.
But these last 2 weeks, it's not gap control. I understand the gap control. You can talk me into that verse with the rushing quarterbacks, right? Mm-hmm. With the 2 guys the first couple of weeks, with what you saw from
and you saw the issues with Quay Walker there.
Yeah. So you could talk me into, but Sam Darnold's. I mean, he's athletic. He's not a running quarterback. He can get you a couple of yards out of the pocket when he needs to. But if this idea is the idea we were told by Jeff Hafley was, we're going to stop the run on our way to the quarterback. So I don't know how much, especially in obvious passing situations, you're worried about gap control. You're just worried about getting after the quarterback.
Pass rushing is kind of just pass rushing.
Yeah.
The whole thing was you're just going to get after the quarterback.
Well, but to Paul's point, I want to make sure that, again, this cannot be our, in case of emergency, break glass excuse for everything. But I do feel like in the first quarter of the season, you can still lean on no preseason. When these guys are trying to learn a new defensive scheme, and I understand what you're saying, that the pass rush should be more simplistic than, all of those complicated things that you see with the Zach Galifianakis gif, right? It's not like that. That, to me, is part of the reason why I may be willing to give them a little more of a leash to continue learning.
I just look at pass rush the same way I look at a 9 route for Christian Watson. Hey, Christian, just run down the field and get open. Like, that's not coaching. That's just, this guy's faster than you. Like that's the way and that's a simplistic way. But for the most part, yeah, every once in a while you can stunt, you can blitz, you can do these things. But pass rush comes down to the individual player. And right now, through 4 games, they have done every single one of them to a man is below average in terms of getting pressure.
And you don't think any of that is switching the defensive scheme and not having a preseason? You think it is a lack of talent?
Correct. The more and more I see it, the more and more it looks like a lack of talent.
Is there anything they could do to convince you otherwise?
Actually get sacks against good teams. Rashawn Gary show up. Like, have we noticed outside of the 1 sack that he had, what's Rashawn Gary done? Has he really showed up? Is he really kind of making those big plays? Has he showed up the way he did pre-injury?
I've seen him lose the edge a few times.
Okay, that's not good. It's not good.
Most notably on the touchdown to Jordan Addison.
That's. I guess he's showing up. I guess you're noticing him, not for the right reasons. But and Lucas Van Ness hasn't really shown much growth. Again, the only one in that front 4 that's really showed out was Devontae Wyatt, and now he's injured.
I'd be interested to see if we're going to start seeing more Enigbari. He's put a guy on skates last time, and he's actually a plus run defender there on the edge as well. At some point, even though you paid Rashawn Gary, you're not going to ever just remove him from the field, but there's going to be lost snaps there. There's going to be other options. Like, at this point, it's you need Enigbari or Van Ness to emerge, or you have to go out and get someone else to supplement.
And to the point that Gabe made earlier in that Acme Packing Company article that you referenced, Gabe, the Packers group of 4 defensive ends have mustered just 26 pressures. That's 11 below the league average through the 4 weeks.
Cool.
I'm just trying to give more context to support your point.
I don't know if we needed that, John. I thought we kind of hammered it home.
She just wanted to make sure.
You don't feel like that was
She kind of tap danced on the whole thing there.
You don't feel like that was valuable information?
No,
you don't feel like that
it was. Look,
strengthened Gabe's argument?
Don't get me wrong. Very valuable information. I don't know if it was necessary information.
I didn't want to hear it. How about that?
I'm picking up on that. 800-990-3776. We are asking you all morning long, what is the thing that frustrated you the most? We have got a lot of responses about the kicker. Certainly a lot about Jordan Love being out there. There are a lot of people on the ESPN Milwaukee talk and text line who say the Packers made a mistake by trotting their franchise quarterback out there to play against the Vikings. We will dive into that when we return on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. For your next night out, make Aria, the acclaimed restaurant inside St. Kate, the Arts Hotel, your dinner destination. It's nestled on the 2nd floor of St. Kate. It's an artful dining experience that captivates with culinary creativity. Every single bite is a work of culinary art. Learn more and make reservations at aria@stkate.com. That's aria@stkate.com.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy continues next on 94.5 ESPN.
We got westbound 94 looking pretty good. Just a quick tap of the brakes through the stadium interchange and then crossing over into Waukesha County. The eastbound side's a different story. 92nd Street all the way through the stadium's going to be a bit tight. Southbound on 43 slowing down from almost Good Hope Road all the way down to Capitol. And then on westbound 894, we got a couple of broken down vehicles right around 60th Street, so watch out for that. It's going to be tightening up from 27th Street out to that point. And check out the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today. Mostly sunny, a high of 75 at the lake, 80 inland tonight. Partly cloudy, isolated showers to the north, a low of 59. Weather's brought to you by National Liquor Mart at 16th and National in Milwaukee, packed with the best beer, liquor, seltzer, and spirit deals in town. Open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily, where your satisfaction is their plan of action. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
How would you like to own a jewelry store? Kessler's Diamonds is an employee-owned company.
And Kessler's is growing. Are you the kind of person we're looking for?
Does it make you happy to make other people happy? Are you a problem solver?
Would you like to wake up every morning knowing that you're going to help a lot of people find joy today?
Kessler's Diamonds is people serving people. Keep in mind that Kessler's is owned by its employees. So let me ask you this. Are you a good enough leader that you can be an owner who leads other owners?
Don't worry, you don't have to know about diamonds. We can teach you about diamonds. But the people we're looking for aren't looking for a job.
Did someone pop into your head just now? Do you think you might know who we're looking for?
Give that person a call.
Send them an email. Tell them to walk into Kessler's Diamonds and say to the person who greets them,
I think I want to work here.
Welcome to Kessler's. A fantastic place to buy jewelry and a wonderful place to work.
For the store nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
This time of year can be really tough on a number of areas in your home. If you're struggling with any electrical issues, the superheroes at Current Electric are ready to help you. Chuck Smith is a Brookfield Central grad who started Current Electric over 40 years ago. His mission was to serve our community with integrity and quality. Whether it's as small as a switch repair or as large as rewiring your entire home, to a generator to keep your lights on, or even interest in solar energy, call on the superheroes from Current Electric. Go to callcurrent.com. That's callcurrent.com.
Here in Wisconsin, one name is synonymous with fantastic frozen pizza, Palermo's. For almost 60 years, Palermo's has focused on feeding Wisconsin families. And though Palermo's has grown a lot since 1964, they're still family-owned. They're still proud to call Milwaukee home. And they're still committed to making the best frozen pizza possible. From their new and improved rising crust pizzas to their guilt-free Primo thin pies, Palermo's has a delicious slice for every appetite. Find Palermo's in your local grocer's freezer food aisle. Palermo's. Flavor is our family's business.
Are you looking for a reliable ride? I've got you covered. It's ESPN Milwaukee's Jen Latta. I use AccuTrans Group for my private transportation needs during the college football season. AccuTrans is a veteran-owned business dedicated to providing unmatched corporate, personal, and event-related transportation that you will use again and again. From corporate travel and weddings to group events, AccuTrans Group caters to every occasion. Booking is easy, safe, and dependable. Visit AccuTransGroup.com to get a quote or to book a reservation today for reliable and safe transportation.
It's Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Josh said it's garbage.
I'm so glad that Josh is getting a front row seat.
He said it doesn't work.
Chewy,
am I right or wrong?
We call that a setup in the biz.
On 94.5 ESPN.
Smith with the blitz. Love going deep. Intercepted by Murphy. Intercepted, the third interception of Jordan Love today. Byron Murphy comes up with his first pick of the season. And the drive stops like that for Green Bay.
We have Rob Demovsky coming up very shortly here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. But again, the reaction was a lot of Monday morning quarterbacking happening after that game, saying that Jordan Love should not have been out there at all. It was obvious in the first half that he was labored, that he was struggling, that he was not confident in that left knee. And if you knew that that was the case, why not continue going with what was working, which was Malik Willis, or at the very least, Dave from Aaron says, I don't think they made a mistake putting Love out there, but I am surprised that they didn't have a package for Willis. He could have been a weapon in that game. Gabe, do you agree? Is there any part of you that thinks that Jordan Love shouldn't have been out there at all, or that at the very least have a package for Malik Willis that could have maybe kept the defense on its heels a little bit?
The only way you're having a package for Malik Willis is if he's the guy getting the ball on a jet sweep. You don't go out, decide that this guy's your franchise quarterback, and then take him out of games to put somebody else in at quarterback. You just don't do that. That's not the way any of this works. I know it would be fun to see some of the read option stuff with Malik, and I know it worked in the end zone against the Tennessee Titans a couple of weeks ago. But if Jordan Love is the guy you think he is, and the Packers believe he's that guy, otherwise they don't pay him $55 million a year, you don't take that guy off the field because he's going to be, you saw why. He's a big difference maker throwing the football. Those are the guys that make the biggest impact in the NFL, and I do not expect them to have any sort of package, again, unless Malik Willis is on the field at the same time of Jordan Love, and he's the guy getting the jet sweep. I don't expect the Packers to have any sort of Malik Willis package.
Do you have any issue with him being out there?
No.
Jordan?
No. He wanted to be out there. Like if and Chewy talked about this last week. Like the process is the player fighting to get cleared, the player feeling good enough to play, the doctor clearing him. It's kind of a joint decision. And when he feels good enough to be out there, the only way to kind of get over some of that, as we saw, was maybe to take that hit. And he's not going to get hit in practice. There were always going to be a little bit of a bump for him before he starts feeling good to come back. And that was going to be true if he was out there yesterday or if he was going to be out there 6 weeks from now. That was always going to happen. So I'm glad that we have now that half behind us. He knows what he has to do to get ready to play on that knee every week, knows what he has to do to be effective playing on that knee, and hopefully the knee just continues to get better as the season progresses and we get the second half of Jordan Love from yesterday's game as we go forward.
Ray agrees with you on the YouTube page. Remember, you can always stream the show on our ESPN Milwaukee YouTube page. No matter when Jordan Love's first game back was, he was going to be testing the injury. It was not a mistake to play him. He would be shaky the first game back, no matter when that first game was. And then Money Mike weighs in saying Malik Willis is not beating the Vikings. So many flags. Give Love credit for the comeback. They clean up those mistakes or make those kicks. They win that game with Love. Joshy, do you agree it was the right choice to have Jordan Love out there versus the Vikings?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're healthy enough to play, you're healthy enough to play. It's as simple as that. As we saw, it didn't take a long time for the Vikings to put a whole lot of points on the board. Malik Willis, as grateful for what he did as I am, and for as impressed with his performance as I was, he's not coming back from 28-0. There's very few quarterbacks in the league who are capable of it. The Packers just so happen to have one of that handful right now. People keep mentioning the have a package for... Do we take the New Orleans Saints as like serious Super Bowl contenders? Have they been one of the top teams? Because everyone mentions Taysom Hill and what they do there. And sure, yeah, he scores a few touchdowns, but that's not a serious franchise. That's not a Super Bowl contender year in and year out. They're doing that because... frankly, they don't have the talent at quarterback or elsewhere on the field to score any other way. So they have to kind of trick everyone. They're running the annexation of Puerto Rico 4 different ways with Taysom Hill. That's not what you want. You want your quarterback out there throwing deep passes to Dontavian Wicks and Jaden Reed and Tucker Kraft because that's how you score points, and that's how you consistently remain one of the better offenses in the league.
When the Wildcat was a thing in the NFL in like the late 2000s, early 2010s, Packers didn't do any of that.
No.
They had Brett Favre, and then they had Aaron Rodgers.
The hell do I want them off the field for?
Yeah, the Patriots didn't do it. Broncos didn't do it. The Saints at that point didn't do it.
Right.
Because you've got one of those difference-making quarterbacks. You don't want to take those guys off the field.
We got to take a break and get to Rob Demovsky, who is going to join the show very shortly. But I was interested in the fact that when I checked out the box score, guys, nobody went up over 100 for the Vikings. Is that a depth thing? They just have so many weapons that they can spread the ball around. It's kind of like what we have talked about with the Green Bay Packers of like, you might not have a 100-yard receiver, but you're going to have 5 guys with 70.
Sam Darnold didn't get the Aaron Rodgers thing that we always saw with 8 completions to 8 different, but that's what happened. He was spreading the ball around really early, and Sam Darnold has a ways to go before he's compared to Aaron Rodgers, but that was something that was celebrated often. It felt like every other week it was like Aaron Rodgers has completed a pass to 9 different guys on this team. It was, I mean, they did have a plan for Justin Jefferson. He did get open, but you saw them shading a lot to give help over the top, and that's, I mean, he still made incredible plays with them having a serious plan for him. It
was 21-0. He had 1 catch for 5 yards.
Yeah. It's just, Jordan Addison's really good too. Aaron Jones is really good too. They've got options.
But we had talked about the number for Aaron Jones.
Hawkinson yet.
And he only had 93 yards rushing. He had 46 in the passing game as well.
Mm-hmm.
What was the number that we threw out there?
I think 120
was the number
was
we
the
said.
danger zone.
So he was over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got into the danger zone.
All right.
I mean, he didn't get to Chewy's 160. So I got that going.
Kenny Loggins over here with the ode to Top Gun. We got to get to Rob Demovsky. He's coming up next on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. But before we do, guys, with competitive rates and tailored banking solutions, your money works harder for you when you bank at Great Midwest Bank. Join a community that values your growth and supports your journey. Wrap up your summer with a simple deposit at Great Midwest Bank and watch your savings grow larger and larger as the days grow shorter and shorter. Great Midwest Bank is where your financial goals go to become a reality. Visit greatmidwestbank.com to see what products they have for you.
More Jen, Gabe, and Chewy coming up on 94.5 ESPN.
You've probably heard about employee stock ownership plans before, but what separates Fifth Third Bank from others when it comes to these plans? A succession plan that benefits business owners and employees. Full and partial sales, second stage transactions, repurchase obligation financing, and seller note refinancing, ESOPs can offer tax advantages, increased liquidity, employee incentives, and overall diversification of net worth to help your company plan for the future. Fifth Third Bank, National Association. Custom solutions built around your goals. Member FDIC.
Make plans now for early October football at the Perk when UW Whitewater hosts UW Oshkosh this Saturday. These national-ranked Division III football powers kick off at 1 p.m. Arrive early for a great game day experience as it's Family Fest in Whitewater. Tickets are available at uwwsports.com. Watch national championship-level college football this Saturday at Perkins Stadium when the Warhawks welcome in the Titans at 1 p.m. for a huge conference matchup. Get tickets at uwwsports.com. Warhawk football, powered by tradition.
Let's get the latest from Lambeau. This is your Green and Gold Fix on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Z-Bart of Greater Milwaukee. Want that mirror finish on your car? You need Z-Gloss by Z-Bart. Z-Gloss is a 3-layer ceramic coating that not only gives your car that mirror finish, it protects it from everything that Mother Nature can throw at it. Visit zbart.com for more information.
After going down by 4 touchdowns early in Sunday's game to the Vikings, Jordan Love's first game back from injury at quarterback turned into an air attack. However, his 4-touchdown, 3-interception performance only brought the team back so far. The Pack falling 31-29 at Lambeau Field. And afterwards, head coach Matt LaFleur had a simple message.
This is a humbling league at times, and credit to them. They did more than we did to win the game, and we got to bounce back from it. We got to learn from it and get better.
The Packers look to get back in the win column as they take on the 1-win Rams in LA on Sunday afternoon.
This has been your Green and Gold Fix on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Z-Bart of Greater Milwaukee.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
We need a new intro for this year, though.
All right, we'll work on it.
Consider it done, Rob.
ESPN's #1 source for green and gold information.
Look, I would suspect that we don't see Malik Willis throw the ball down the field a whole lot, especially early, but it would not surprise me if we got back to more of the quick West Coast stuff.
Our most musically inclined and bald guest.
I was overly harsh about Gabe's golf game because I played terrible yesterday.
It's Rob Demovsky.
This better be a great segment.
On Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Always love talking to Rob Demovsky every Monday after a Packers game, win or lose. Fortunately, this comes after a loss. Good morning, Rob.
Gabe, how are you?
But I feel okay because they came back, but I also think there's still a lot of issues that were exposed yesterday. What do you think was the biggest issue the Packers had in their loss to the Vikings yesterday?
Man, what a weird game, wasn't it? I mean, there's... The biggest issue is hard to come up with because I have so many issues that were, I mean, maybe not any of them were like, oh, the season's over because of this. Mm-hmm. But there were a lot of like contributing factors. I mean, we can boil it down to simply the kicker. They lost the game by 2 points and he missed 2 field goals, right? I mean, that's the very simplistic approach, and we can get into what the heck they're going to do there more if we want to.
Don't worry. We will, Rob. Don't worry.
There's a couple of things, too. I mean, like, I think I heard you guys talking about pass rush and pressure. Do you know how many passes that Sam Darnold completed outside the pocket yesterday?
Sam Darnold outside the pocket. Okay, all right. I was gonna. So one of his 20 was outside the pocket.
Yeah, he didn't have to move. Like, that's a problem. The Packers are last. I just looked this up. They're last in ESPN's pass rush win rate statistic. Okay,
Josh is getting worse. It's getting worse.
The Josh Jacobs was supposed to be the workhorse back thing confuses me a little bit because it seemed like the last 2 weeks it's been like more of an even split between him and Emmanuel Wilson. So there's that issue. I'm willing to give Jordan Love a little bit of a pass for his first half because, look, he was going to be rusty. He was going to be inaccurate. I think he had to it took him a while to figure out how much he could push off and use that left leg as a plant and all that. I think that's, he sort of looked like the Jordan Love of early last year where he was low on a lot of throws and a little bit late getting the ball to people. But I thought that got better, obviously, as the game went on. So I'm willing to give him a little bit of a pass there. But and all those other things, and I'm sure there's ones that I haven't even mentioned that you've thought of that are minor to medium issues on this team right now.
Yeah, I mean, penalties certainly an issue for this team. They're top 5 right now in penalties. That's something. But going to the pass rush, because to me, and maybe I'm wrong on this, we don't have Chewy here to correct me if I'm wrong on this. I feel like pass rush, that's not necessarily scheme dependent. Yes, you can do things blitzing wise. You can, with just your front four, if you want to rush 4, you can do stunts. But like Rashawn Gary not being able to get home right now, I don't look at that as, they're transitioning to the new scheme, so give him time. Like, is it possible the knee injury robbed him of some athleticism that we weren't going to factor in?
Sure, that's definitely possible, but I do think there is, and it may not be scheme necessarily, Gabe, but I do think that there are techniques that different coaches teach for how they want the pass rushers to operate. Some want a hand placement here, some want a first step this way, some want it the other way. Some want you to set up an offensive lineman with this kind of move or that kind of move at the beginning. So, I mean, while I get it that it's not necessarily scheme dependent, there are techniques within a scheme that differ from coordinator to coordinator and from system to system. So there still could be some of that adjustment happening with the pass rush.
So what, they can go from below average to average? Either way, it's largely concerning no matter what. I mean, there are a lot of things I saw. Andy Herman said, and again, just pointing this out, 1 sack for Rashawn Gary in the last 11 games. You mentioned that the win rate in terms of ESPN, NFL Next Gen Stats has a pressure rate where the Packers' best one is Rashawn Gary, but the number is still below average. I don't know how they get better at this, Rob.
Yeah, I mean, in the old days when they couldn't get pressure, Leroy Butler in his playing days would just tell Fritz Shermer, let's blitz more, and they would blitz more. So maybe that's going to have to be the way they get it temporarily. It's just to send more guys.
And that worked yesterday. Obviously, they got the sack from Quay, got the strip sack from Keyshawn. It seems like that Hafley knows when to send that. So let's go ahead and talk about the kicker then. All right, we've solved the issue of the defense, pass rush. Okay, we blitz more. How do we solve the issue of Narveson making and missing kicks?
Well, it sure sounds like they're sticking with him. At least that's what Matt LaFleur indicated.
Okay, does he actually have confidence though? This is the same guy who said he was praying, last year when Carlson was going out there.
I think his comment yesterday was a direct lesson learned from the praying comment from last season, but before the 49ers game, if I'm not mistaken, he made that comment. Yeah, I mean, he's learned his lesson there. We'll see if he learns his lesson about jumping up and down on the sidelines when the referee won't give him a timeout. But that's another topic that we could get into. But look, the problem is, and Bill Huber, who does a great job covering the Packers for SI.com, he laid out who the kickers are that are available, the guys who have kicked in the league.
Okay.
Not necessarily guys that have gone to camp, like rookies that have gone to camp and have never kicked. But I'll just read Bill's list real quick.
Oh no, is this going to make me feel bad?
Yes. Well, it's not going to make you feel any better. Randy Bullock, Riley Patterson, Brett Maher, Chad Ryland, who I've never heard of, Matthew Wright, and Anders Carlson. Like, those are the veteran kickers, the guys who have actually kicked for at least a season with a team in the league. So, those are the guys that are – I mean, I guess you could throw Mason Crosby in there, but that's not happening either. There are a bunch of guys that are on the tryout kicker circuit, the rookies, the second-year guys who have yet to kick in the league. And there's every week, there's these guys make the circuit to try out. And I guarantee you at minimum they will work out some guys this week.
Do you expect Braden Arverson to still be the kicker on Sunday against the Rams?
Yes, except here's one thing I thought of that maybe, I don't know if a way out or an option is, let's just say they really, really think Braden Arverson has the talent to be their long-term kicker, but right now he needs to fix something. And the interesting thing is, how many has he missed? 4? All 4 of them, plus the one that didn't count, so really 5, have all been missed wide right, all of them. So maybe they feel like, it's better than my 2-way miss where I have no idea whether I'm going to hit a hook or a fade off the tee. That's a problem.
Typically, yes.
But the fact that it's only a 1-way miss, maybe they think is fixable. And just hear me out on this for a second.
Okay.
Maybe, just maybe, they take a week off with him and they give Alex Hale a shot. Alex Hale's their practice squad kicker, Australian kid, who really, when he got here in training camp, wasn't great. But last week, Rich Bisaccia actually mentioned how, I'm pretty sure if I remember right, it was unprompted. He brought up how Alex Hale has improved, over the last 5-6 weeks since camp ended. So I don't know, maybe that's an option, that they sit Arverson for a week, let him, sort of go back to work on his technique and try Alex Hale. I mean, that seems far-fetched and unlikely, but is that any worse option than those 6-7 names I just read off?
I don't think so. I don't think that's any worse. Joshy?
Rob, has Rich Bisaccia delivered on what he was expected to do when the Packers hired him?
Boy, that is a $2 million question, Josh, because I think that's what they're paying him, at least $2 million. I don't know. And here's the thing, and I can't remember if we talked about this on the show right after the Brazil game or not, but or maybe it was even before that. I talked to a former kicker in the league who said that, look, Rich is probably a really good special teams coach in terms of scheme, blocking, motivation, all that stuff. But what does he know, or what does any special teams coach know about kicking? Kicking is so different than the rest of special teams, the other 10 guys on the field that, and I actually asked Rich this a couple weeks ago of why teams don't hire kicking specialists. And his answer was, well, these guys all have kicking specialists that they work with in the offseason. And that is 100% true.
Sure, but every quarterback has a guy that they work with, and Tom Clements still has a job.
And the other thing too is there's offensive coordinators, and then there's quarterbacks coaches. Why can't there be special teams coaches and kicking coaches? I really think that could. I mean, they've got 8 million coaches in the thing anyway. I mean, remember way back when they used to have yeah, exactly. They used to have 8 or 9 coaches in the whole staff, and now they've got 30. So yeah, why not have a kicking guy? Now the argument is a guy like John Carney or Jamie Cool, who those are these kicking gurus. They work with 30 kickers. So if one team hired them, their kicking business of working with all these guys and developing kickers from high school and college might go away. And maybe it would for them. They wouldn't want to do it, but I don't see why you wouldn't at least try to bring in on staff a kicking coach, kicking specialist.
Yeah, I think that makes all the sense in the world. So let's go back to the Josh Jacobs thing, because I didn't even think about that. I was thinking about it in the first half when, why is Emmanuel Wilson still getting these carries? Yeah. And then, I got lost in the game of them frantically trying to come back. Is that something you guys plan on asking LaFleur this week of why Josh Jacobs and Emmanuel Wilson are splitting snaps and splitting carries? Because, again, Jacobs was much more efficient.
Yeah, so he was asked it yesterday, and I'm going to read you the answer. So he said, I don't know what the exact snap counts were, so until I get back and take a peek at it, I don't know. And then the follow up was basically, well, it looked like they were alternating series. And here's what I thought was really interesting. LaFleur said there were some things that happened early on with some of the protections that were a little bit of an issue that we need to clean up and be better in. And it became a passing game. I mean, we threw the ball 50 some times. So what does that tell you? That tells you that Josh Jacobs like what was doing in pass protection early in that game. Now, there was also, I think it was the first or second series, Jacobs came, and in fact, it might have been right after his first touch, came to the sideline, was getting looked at by the trainer. First, they were looking at his hand. Then they were looking at, I believe it was his right ankle. Now, he ended up going back in, but I wonder if that was an issue for him when it came to pass protection.
Speaking of injuries, Christian Watson, is that Syria? He was carted off the field. It seemed that LaFleur didn't seem very concerned about it after the game, though.
Yeah, I think it's a high ankle sprain from what I've been able to gather. Now, high ankle sprains can be anywhere from a week to 3 or 4 weeks. He did seem to be, moving okay. Devontae Wyatt actually seems like maybe it was worse. He was in a boot and on crutches. So that's the double whammy. He also had an ankle sprain. So I do think those are both the x-rays on Watson. I know that were negative for sure, but it sounds like high ankle sprain. And again, that's, it's hard to know. I mean, some guys can come back from that right away and other guys need a couple of weeks, but my guess is that they would probably miss him for at least a game. We do Jason and I do, and Bill Huber do a Sunday night show on WBAY up here. And the host, Chris Roth, on our panel asked us last night, who can you afford to lose more, Watson or Wyatt? And honestly, the way Jaden Reed and the way they're throwing the ball, I would say you could probably lose Watson before you could lose Devontae Wyatt. And I would never have said that, a month ago, but Devontae Wyatt might be one of their best front four guys.
Yeah, he's the one for me, Rob, that stood out more in the front four more than anybody else.
I agree, 100%.
Would they ever consider taking the sticker off of Quay Walker?
I don't know about the sticker, but I wonder if they find a way to just use him a little bit differently. Some guys just take longer to adapt to a scheme. Some guys aren't a fit for the position they're playing in the scheme, and I'm not going to pretend to know exactly the intricacies of the Will, the Sam, the Mike in this system, but I do wonder if maybe he's better off on one of the other two spots, and maybe play Edgerrin Cooper or play Tyron Hopper a little bit more or whatever. But that is to me the biggest maybe surprise or question about the transition for this defense is that it doesn't seem right now like Quay Walker is, I don't know, playing loose is the right word, playing fast, or just playing like we thought he would play.
Yeah, I feel like Edgerrin Cooper stood out to me more when he's been on the field. And I mean, Xavier McKinney, to me, you can just have him be, the green dot, to have him be calling the plays and then figure out whatever you want to do at that linebacker position.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's got to be a guy who's on the field all the time, and Xavier McKinney is certainly that. So that would probably be the next best option. Would definitely be 29, and he sure seems like he can handle just about anything that they want to throw at him.
Rob, we always appreciate the time, bud, every single Monday. Thanks for giving us the latest up there in Green Bay.
All right, Gabe, we're going to have to figure this out next week with this whole West Coast time change in my flight. So I'm not good at time changes in airports and all that, so we'll have to figure it out.
You know what? Hey, but I mean, Josh is a smart guy. Like, I think we'll be able to figure it out, right?
We'll get to the bottom of it, Rob.
My flight is yet, so.
Yeah, so we'll figure that out. We'll figure it out later in the week. But we appreciate it, Rob.
All right, guys. We'll be seeing you.
Rob Demovsky joins us each and every Monday after Packer games here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. The next best round of golf for you is going to be happening at the Wisconsin Club. Hey, do what I did. Become a member at the Wisconsin Club. No assessments, no food and beverage minimums, and a beautiful golf course that's fun, challenging. I love it. I love being out there. I love playing the golf course. I love, because I'm a golf nut, I love the practice facility. I can sneak out there, get some range time in. They've got a couple of different chipping greens that I can work on the short game as well. But maybe you're looking for something a little bit more. Well, Wisconsin Club has tennis, pickleball courts, pool with theme Sunday fun days each and every week. So what are you waiting for? Get started today. Visit thewisconsincountryclub.com for membership info. The Wisconsin Country Club, just a fairway away.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy are back after this on 94.5 ESPN.
The Jen, Gabe, and Chewy podcast is sponsored by Celsius Energy Drink, and I am here to tell you it makes a huge difference in my mornings. With a unique blend of essential energy and key vitamins, Celsius is your partner to an active lifestyle. My favorite, the Peach Vibe. Learn more at Celsius.com and pick up Celsius Energy Drinks today.
At Great Midwest Bank, we've been serving Southeast Wisconsin homeowners for nearly 90 years. Wait. 2024 minus 1935, 89 years. Wow. In our 89 years as a community bank, we've learned a lot about the values of the people who live and work here and appreciate the loyal customers that have made Great Midwest Bank who we are today. Find a location at greatmidwestbank.com. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local, equal housing lender and member FDIC.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hey football fans, with BetMGM's Second Chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first touchdown scorer scores second.
BetMGM and GameSense are ready to gamble responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. This U.S. promotional offer not available in Mississippi, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. For New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. For Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. For Massachusetts, 1-800-327-5050. For Iowa, 1-800-BEST-OFF. For Puerto Rico, 1-800-981-0023. Subject to eligibility requirements. Partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted it close to town, with a picture window overlooking a yard. And you found it. Now, when you sit down to dinner, you've got front row seats too. Your neighbor's daily pickleball game. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all states.
At the Home Depot, we know Saturdays are for college football. That's why we have everything you need to never miss a play. Like North America's #1 home fire safety brand, Kidde. Because on a day full of football sounds you love, like fight songs, roaring crowds, and your favorite commentators...
like me, Kirk Herbstreit.
The last sound you want to hear is... Defend your game time with Kidde and the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Based on total household installations as of December 2023.
Great game. You got into the end zone again and again. How'd it feel?
Awesome. Like getting a new iPhone again and again. I just got the new iPhone 16 Pro today.
Really?
Yeah. And with AT&T Next Up Anytime, I can upgrade early every year.
Very nice.
Feel like an MVP again. Learn how to get the new iPhone 16 Pro on us and the latest iPhone every year with AT&T Next Up Anytime. AT&T. Connecting changes everything. Offer subject to change. Additional fees, terms, and restrictions apply. $0 offer may not be available on future iPhones. Next Up Anytime feature may be discontinued at any time. See att.com/iPhone for details.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
You want more physical harm beset upon people who are trying to earn a living.
I want winners. If someone has to die in order for us to win, then that's the price you pay.
On 94.5 ESPN.
Here we go.
It doesn't matter what age you are. Low testosterone can be an issue with any guy. It's where Mentality comes in. Local healthcare facility specifically dedicated to helping men feel and perform at their very best. Look, I was kind of tired, groggy, just didn't have the energy that I used to. Thought it was okay, getting a little older, waking up earlier in the day. It's just how it goes. But it doesn't have to be that way with Mentality. They've got my testosterone levels where they need to be. Now I've got the energy to do everything I need to do. Got to do this show. Got to do a show later today. Have the energy to attack and do it all. So go to lowtusa.com. Mentality allows treatment to fit into every guy's lifestyle. Learn more about Mentality at lowtusa.com. Did I make a mistake yesterday, Joshy? So doing Green Bay game day up at the Tundra Trio, and great time at the tailgate, and one of our salespeople, hey, I got a couple extra tickets, nobody's going to use them, do you want to use them? And I wasn't going to be sitting with him, I wouldn't be sitting with anyone that I knew, so ultimately decided that I was going to pass on them. And, through the first half, I thought, thank God I passed on this. When the Packers had the ball looking like they were going to score, down 9 with 6 minutes left, and this was still going to be an interesting game, thought, maybe I should have gone. I feel like a younger version of me would have gone, yeah, I don't care where I'm going, I'll just go and sit. But I don't know, I feel like now that I'm older, it's like, well, do I really want to go to this game by myself? Honestly, if I had a pal there, I would have gone in instantly.
Right.
I just didn't want to go in and sit by myself.
The thing that makes it complicated for me is I don't know how much I stick around after the start of the game, thinking about traffic, getting home. I mean, you've got a wife and a dog at home.
Yeah.
There's stuff to do around the house.
Sure.
Even if you go in, how much do you think you stay to even see the game come within 2 points?
Oh, if you're there, you're there. If I'm there, I'm there.
Yeah.
And I had texted my wife. She seemed okay with me staying for the game if that would have been,
We're also the exact wrong people to ask this type of questions because most people would, any given chance, given a Packers ticket,
100%.
And we've had the distinct privilege to be offered tickets regularly.
The thing is, I have not attended a game as a fan since 2010 at Lambeau.
Wow.
But again, very I did games on the radio network, so I was up there for a bunch, when I was doing the pregame, have covered a number of different games. I was up there it was an unfortunate night because the Packers lost to the Bears on Thanksgiving, but it was when they retired Brett's number and they had Bart there, and, that was a really cool halftime thing. I've been fortunate enough to be there a ton with what we do, but I have not, sat in the stands, gotten a Miller Lite in my hand, yelling defense, on a big third down.
The problem is if for me to have a full, great game experience, I need to be having some beers beforehand, beers during, and probably a shuttle ride back.
Yeah, the beers beforehand's not an option for me, Josh.
Right.
Kind of busy up until the kickoff.
I don't think you made that big of a mistake.
Okay.
There's also a mindset in those. Going to a Packers game isn't just I'll stop over and just catch the last couple innings of a baseball game. There's a lot goes into it.
Yeah, that's if I had a pal there, if you were there, we would have gone.
Oh, absolutely.
Without a doubt. Will the Tausch continue to react to the Packers' loss? Coming up next.
Got some delays along eastbound 94 from about 84th Street through the